That was beautiful, thank you. And as I walked in, I heard part of the story. So this is normally a trio, and your sister's in the graduating class, and you wanted to see her march in. So thanks for being here. Thanks for the music. So I'm Jeff Sanders, the president of Maine Medical Center. It's my privilege to welcome you here this morning to the Maine celebration of the TUSM Maine track graduating class of 2022. I'll give you a little bit of background. The program is hybrid, so we have a great audience here. It's good to be in person, good to see the families. Obviously, great to see the students who are graduating very shortly. The program we're going to go through really started many years ago. It's good to see Dr. Kulik here from Tufts University School of Medicine. Many years ago, when we started this program, we had a couple ideas in mind. Obviously, wanted to offer allopathic medical education to residents of Maine or those closely connected to the state of Maine. We wanted to connect that program, not just to the city of Portland, but to our state. We also wanted to provide some financial support to residents of Maine to bring the cost of education down as they went through their education and continue their career and their training and beyond. I also want to talk about the faculty. So in order to do this, you need a dedicated faculty base. Of course, the team in Boston helped develop the program up here, but I want to call out, we have some of them here today as well. The faculty who have developed this program, not just in Portland, but throughout our state, through the clerkship programs that happen throughout the state, through the third year and beyond. I want to thank them for the work that they do, the commitment they have to the program, and the dedication to medical education for the program and for the students. Thank you. I also want to recognize our benefactors, many of whom are on the hybrid portion of our program today. As I mentioned earlier, one of our goals was to bring the cost of education down for students from the state of Maine. I'm very proud of what we've been able to do. Every year we are able to identify 20 students to receive scholarships of $25,000 per year. So the students who are here who are graduating, who are scholarship recipients, have received $100,000 in scholarship support. That comes from individuals, it comes from corporations in our community, it comes from foundations, and it also comes from the state of Maine. At this point in the program, in the school, we've been able to distribute $23 million in scholarship support for residents of Maine. I want to thank our benefactors. I want to thank the state of Maine for the work that they've done to support that program. I want to call out the state of Maine in particular. From the beginning of the program, the state of Maine has provided, to date, $4.5 million through the Finance Authority of Maine. The work that they've done at the legislative level and through the governor's office to continue to support this program with other many challenges going on, of course, over the past couple of years, very much underscored, has been wonderful. So I want to thank the state of Maine for the work that they've done and the commitment they have to medical education. As I left home this morning, I left two young girls, and I recognized coming in, we have probably some future students in our program. I wanted to mention that because I wanted to thank the parents and the families here. You know, we're celebrating the students today, and we will celebrate them when they formally graduate down at Tufts. But this is an incredible milestone for the families as well. It's been a long journey. Thank you for what you've done to support the students here today and for what you'll do going forward as they continue their training. And lastly, I want to thank the students and congratulate them. I want to thank you for choosing the program here. You've been through 4 unique years that I think will be with you as you continue your training throughout your career. And I want to wish you the best of luck as you continue your training into the future. And I haven't spent as much time with you, of course, but I know medicine, wherever you'll go, here in Maine and beyond, is in great hands with the graduating class of 2022. So good luck to you. It's now my pleasure to turn the program over to Dr. Doug Sawyer, our Chief Academic Officer.
Good morning. Welcome back. It's been 2 years since we got together here to celebrate. It's a little bit different than being on Zoom. I'm trying to get used to it. I was telling the students last night, without the Zoom tags, I have trouble remembering their names, and as a sign of my age. I have to say, I don't think I've shared this with other people, but I was thinking this morning about how you're really living my dream, because 35 plus years ago, when I was thinking about going to medical school, sitting in my parents' yard up in near the Rangeley Lakes area, Maine medical school wasn't an option. I ended up going away for a while, and then I'm happy to be back in Maine myself. So I'm really excited for you. 4.5 years ago or so, the admissions committee of the Maine track saw something special in each and every one of you, and we were delighted that you chose to come here and be part of Maine Medical Center and Maine Health for the last 4 years, some of you more. So thanks, and on behalf of all the faculty and all the people that participate in education, thank you for being part of our community, for helping us all get better, as well as our patients get the care they need. And I'm talking about not just the physician faculty, but every one of us knows in medicine that you learn a lot from the other professions in healthcare, as well as administration, as well as environmental services, et cetera. So it's a big community that's helped you become the doctors you're becoming in the next few weeks. So we're proud of you, and we want to look forward to your successes in the next phase of your careers. We're also really excited to know that you're going to go off and change medicine. I think as much as we know today, medicine has to continue to evolve to do better for the patients, and prevention as well as for advanced cares of many advanced diseases. So we look forward to seeing how you guys take care of us older folks in the years to come and improve on healthcare. I just encourage 3 thoughts to share with you, and then we'll move along the program. But I think there are 3 things that have helped me in my career, and I hope that you carry them with you. I know you all have them today. One is humility. And that's the humility that maybe comes to knowing that we don't know everything we need to know in medicine, the humility that comes to knowing that we need to understand where a person's coming from when they walk into our clinic or we walk into their room in the hospital, humility in engaging with one of our colleagues in the care of patients to figure out what is it that they know and why do they differ, in my opinion, and so we can learn from each other. So I hope you carry that humility. The second is curiosity, and some of you maybe sat through a session where I tried to encourage you to be curious and stay curious throughout your careers. And I really hope you do that because it relates back to the how do we improve on healthcare in general, but also how do we relate to each other as human beings by being curious and interested in each other. And the outcomes that we want for our patients are going to be improved by that curiosity. And then finally, I remind you that curiosity is one of those things that psychologists call a flourishing behavior, and it's a important reminder that we all need to flourish throughout our careers, and maintaining some curiosity in your life, I think, will help you go far into perhaps sustaining a career. And finally, integrity. You all have a credible integrity, and maintaining that integrity and personal integrity throughout your career is incredibly important. We are so excited for you today and to have your families here today and friends. So congratulations. I'm happy to introduce Amy Kulik, who's coming up from Boston. She's the Dean for Student Affairs and a professor at Tufts University School of Medicine.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm taking this all in, realizing that you are, the class of 2022, our 10th graduating Maine track class. And that's really an incredible accomplishment that was made here in Maine with a commitment of everybody that you've just heard about today. The class of 2022, you are truly an extraordinary group of learners. And from the get-go, you held us accountable to tenets of social responsibility. Your class, in my mind, will always be remembered for that. You advocated for removing the name of our medical education building, and I'm not even going to mention that name. You promoted health equity and advanced principles of diversity and inclusion here in Maine and in Boston as well. You trained under really difficult circumstances, withstanding the never-ending Step 1 study period. Dean Linder reminded me this morning that you showed up for our Wednesday morning Zoom Step 1 breakfast week after week after week, wondering when it would all be over and just hoping for a little bit of that human connection. You've proven yourselves to be courageous, compassionate, and dedicated. And as you move on to the next phase in your educational journey, I hope you keep your passion for doing good. I know you will, actually. I hope you find joy in your professional and personal lives. And as 4 years ago, I don't know if you remember this, but at orientation, I always give a piece of advice, like call your mom every once in a while. And now I'm going to add to it, make time for each other. So call your classmates, connect in any way. Maybe phone calls are out of date now. And also, this time I'm going to say, remember to keep in touch with some of us. We really love getting emails, pictures, some texts from y'all, and we're here forever for you. So that's what I'm going to add to this. I also want you to keep your humility. I know you will. And the other piece of advice I have is ask for help. Ask for help when you need it. Clinically, if you have a question, ask for help if you need personal help. That's actually a sign of strength and another flourishing behavior. So I want to add that as well. Dean Linder and I, after last night's dinner, we wrestled for the honor of presenting your student class speaker. We arm wrestled, and I won the arm wrestle. So it is my absolute honor to be able to present your student speaker. Your student speaker described himself in his medical school application as a, quote, non-traditional student. And while he might be a non-traditional student, actually, Ben Davison's diverse life experiences indubitably reflect those of a traditional Mainer. Ben was born in Portland and raised in a hardworking, blue-collar family in Maine. And like many Mainers, Ben actually worked after graduating from high school before embarking on his higher education, first at York Community College, and then he transferred to the University of Maine, where he excelled and graduated summa cum laude with a degree in ecology and environmental science. Following graduation, the outdoors beckoned, and Ben spent about 6 months hiking the Appalachian Trail, prior to moving to Denver, where he worked for years as a construction manager for Habitat for Humanity and was a volunteer supervisor as well. He returned to Maine, first continuing to work for Habitat, and later he founded his own residential construction company. Ben was inspired to pursue medicine by 2 physician mentors he met along the way, one in Denver and the other in Boston. And he pursued post-baccalaureate training right here at the University of Southern Maine. He also, during those years, continued to work in construction and to tend to his young family. Ben's journey in medical school has been no less extraordinary. He brought his passion for service that he honed during his time at Habitat and used this to help identify service learning opportunities for his fellow classmates in Maine. He also serves on the board of the Maine Academy for Family Physicians. I recall during his long, dedicated study period after second year, Ben and I devised a secret plan, a hideout for him to just grab a little time away from his young family to study for step 1. He did this in a yurt on his family property, only in Maine. After successfully overcoming the hurdle, Ben brought his authentic self to his clinical work. He began his year in the LIC at Stevens Memorial Hospital in Norway, where comments confirmed that he was a, quote, extraordinarily, extremely mature student who brought his life experience and wisdom to every endeavor. It was noted also that his character and devotion to multiple facets of his life are full of integrity, professionalism, and curiosity. And you teed us up for that one, Dr. Sawyer. As many of you know, Ben's third year was disrupted unexpectedly by his own encounter with illness, as he was diagnosed and treated for Hodgkin's lymphoma successfully. This experience only served to strengthen his resolve for medicine and deepen his empathy for patients. One of Ben's preceptors described his communication skills as, quote, the best I've ever encountered in a medical student. Another noted that Ben's grit is undeniable, and every single preceptor said they would welcome him as their own colleague. How lucky are you all that Ben is your lifelong colleague, classmate, and friend. Last night in the superlatives, you noted that Ben was, quote, most likely to change lives. I think he's already done that. In just a few weeks, Ben will continue his medical training and the Maine Dartmouth Family Medicine Program in Augusta, And as I noted in his MISPE, whoever gets Ben is truly fortunate. So without further ado, Ben Davison.
Thank you, Dean Kulik. So forgive me, I need to read because this is not my natural habitat. I was hesitant to accept the invitation to speak today. The truth is I don't know anything that you don't. I don't have any wisdom or important ideas to share that you won't come to on your own. And even the ones I have come to are my important ideas and wisdom. They are personal, important to me in my view of the world, and guiding in my actions. I hope that for you, they are at least worth your consideration over the next 10 minutes. The reason I accepted the invitation to speak today is because of the respect I feel for you, my classmates. I'm honored to be part of this group and feel privileged to have been chosen to speak and to celebrate our collective success today. Thank you. I'm guessing that many of you voted for me as today's student speaker because I had cancer during medical school. I think that's reasonable. Prior to having cancer, I would have expected that the journey through illness, treatment, and recovery would impart wisdom or insight into life and death, that it might clarify what it is we're all doing here, working so hard and towards these absurdly long-term goals. I should have something profound to say, but I don't. The truth is that my cancer experience was not that bad. I listened to my oncologist, I followed the treatment plan, I struggled with questions about life and death, worried about financial stability, fretted about my spouse and kids, thought about all the things I'd never get to do, and suffered on the couch. I also spent time imagining my loved ones' lives without me. Often it was pleasant to imagine them having fun, their future successes, and continuing to love one another despite what had happened. Then I returned to school, feeling well again, except for the substantial fatigue. And it was actually harder because I continued to worry and fret, but then I also had to go to school every day instead of just suffering on the couch. One thing I did not worry about during my time on the couch was medical school. Deans Kulik and Linder, in a way that only strong leaders can, made it immediately clear that I had no responsibilities as a medical student until I was well again. Dr. Hardy, who's here today, somewhere, there he is. Sorry, now I've lost my place and I'm screwed. Dr. Hardy, my third-year site director in LIC, also made it clear that he and my preceptors would be there when I was ready to return, whenever that was. I'm forever grateful for their flexibility, kindness, leadership, and I learned a lot from their example about what real leadership is during the time of personal and professional crisis. While I wish us all long and healthy lives, the reality is that the only thing that separates us from our patients is time and the position we assume when entering the exam room. We will move back and forth between these roles over the course of our careers, and I think it would do us well to pay as much attention when we are on the patient side as we have been trained to pay when we are on the physician side. That is one of the gifts of this path, to have the opportunity to understand human illness and suffering as entirely as anyone can, and through that, hopefully, more deeply enjoy the joyous moments such as we find ourselves in today. Part of the joy today is the relief that we have successfully completed something that is rife with metaphors about its difficulty, such as the classic drinking from a fire hose of information. Although I've steadily moved through medical school, and I'm sure many of you can relate when I say this, that despite this, somehow it has felt like a continuous series of setbacks. It's that difficult of a path. There's always more to learn. There's always something that I haven't even heard of, let alone understand. That is a difficult duality in medicine. It's humbling to say the least, unendingly interesting, and can swing from elation to crushing sadness in the time it takes to walk between rooms. It's demanding, exhausting, and rewarding, and hopefully not consumptive. My children, Anna and Lowell, who are here, have been grounding and a source of daily joy and respite throughout. During my study period for Step 2, another traumatic time, when I was stretched to my limit with practice problems and flashcards, Anna, who was then 3, asked why I didn't just quit. My answer in the moment was that I was in too deep to quit now, and that I had to see it through. It wasn't an inspiring answer, but in the moment it was how I felt. I was being driven by the sheer momentum of the work I'd done to get there, and it was a useful force. Now, nearly 8 months later, when I've had a hard day, she will climb into my lap and show her deepest empathy by saying to me, "Too bad you're in too deep, Daddy." It never fails to snap me out of my funk and put things into perspective. I, like all of us, have had many ups and downs to get to this celebration, and regardless of our motivations in the moment, continuing forward movement is critical, and I hope that I can keep this perspective when times are difficult in the future. I'm sure Anna and Lowell will be there to help me with this. I also hope to find strength in the reasons I left my former career after being inspired by my friends Paul and Kelly, the only physicians I knew personally before starting medical school. For me, being a physician is fundamentally about service to others. I need to support my family. It would be nice to feel fulfilled by my work, and it's a privilege to be intellectually stimulated. But specifically, the point of this work is to serve people. I hope to remember that my role is not to dictate or even voice what I think my patients should do. That would imply that I know what is best for them, and I do not. I'm becoming an expert in one aspect of their lives, their health. In order to serve them as I hope to, I should answer specific questions, provide resources, help with the interpretation of those resources, and help them ask the questions they may not yet have considered. But for me to think that I can understand their lives would be hubris. At times, their decisions may seem irrational, and I hope that causes me to approach the situation with curiosity instead of more forceful recommendations. To be specific, I hope to resist saying you should, and instead say, how can I help, or what isn't clear about what we've discussed. When asked for recommendations, I hope to start my response with, what do you think is best? And remember that I am a medical expert, or at least becoming one, and even that is limited by the beautiful complexity of biology and my limitations as a fellow fallible human. I am not a life expert, and I am certainly not an expert in this person's life. I am here to help, to support, and to respond to this person's needs. As much as I hope that we are able to provide care and resources for our communities, we also need support and must recognize that in order to get to this day, we have had much help. None of us got to this celebration on our own. To reach this milestone, we have had to give it our all, and even then, we needed the help of others too. To those who are here today, because you are that support network, congratulations, as this is your accomplishment too. For me, this group has included my ever-suffering wife, Caitlin, who is also here, who has worked every bit as hard for this as I have, my children, Lowell and Anna, who provide me with that much-needed relief, and my parents, who provided me with a sense that I can do anything with enough hard work. I also could not have made it through my third year and its health and academic challenges without my classmate, Hannah Young, who provided me with guidance, encouragement, and sarcasm about the slog that life can sometimes be. And of course, our classmate, Dr. Colin Waters, and what I can only assume was a momentary lapse in judgment when he decided to start again at the bottom with us after already having doctor as part of his title. I'm grateful for his friendship, his honest feedback, his commitment to humanism, and many hours of solemn commuting on the Concord coach to Boston. Before medical school, I was a carpenter. I'm now older, weaker, and less useful than I was. But I'm more compassionate, empathetic, wiser, and hopefully I'm demonstrating to the people in my life that it's not too late to set a different course. Congratulations to everyone here today. We did this alone, together, and with the help of many more than we could possibly know. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Ben. That was, thank you very, very much for sharing with us. And Anna, I hope you see your dad's getting out of the deep end. Thanks for your help. It's my pleasure to introduce our invited speaker and guest today, Captain Christopher Cassidy. On the back of the program is a well-written biography of Captain Cassidy, and I won't belabor that, as I know you all know how to read. But it is a real pleasure to have Captain Chris Cassidy come join us. He's a graduate of York High School who went on to serve our country as a Navy SEAL through many missions, and then took a turn upward into outer space and became a decorated astronaut as well as a decorated officer who has spent, I found this very interesting, that we often talk about in medicine about spending a year abroad is a good thing for us to get perspective on how medicine is practiced in other parts of the world. Well, Captain Cassidy has spent a year in space, by my account, and gives us a very, very different perspective of the world we live in. It's really a pleasure that we're able to get him up from Texas, where he's currently the I missed that. Here we go. President and CEO, thank you, of National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation. He and his wife Peggy came up and they spent the night with your mom in York. And thank you again for coming today and delivering our keynote address.
Thank you very much, and I feel like our guest speaker was Ben, so Ben, that was amazing, great job. Yeah. It's kind of funny, when this opportunity to join you guys as your guest speaker came, and my wife and I got an email or about coming to speak at the Tufts, come to Portland to speak at the Tufts graduation. I was like, what? It doesn't make any sense. No, it's in Boston. But I'm so glad to know about this Maine track, and it really excited about what the mission it is. And because and Ben and I didn't collaborate on my remarks, but I'm going to talk today about service and experiences. And the Maine track, as I understand it, just at a brief level, is really fundamentally about service and how you can bring it, particularly to the state of Maine. So I'm excited to know about this great program. Thank you, guys. And 10 years is wonderful. So my career in the military seems to have nothing in common with a graduating class of 2020, but on board the International Space Station, so you got to have a medical officer, right? And you can't always have a doctor as part of the crew. We do have astronauts that are doctors, but occasionally you have a crew with no doctors on there. So you have to, and even if you do have a doctor on the crew, how do you know the doctor's not going to be the one that's hurt on a small group? So everybody's got to have a little bit of cross training. We have flight medical officers there at the Johnson Space Center, and I've been blessed to have two great ones, two Joes, Dr. Joe Schmidt and Dr. Joe Dervay. And they trained us up and told us how to do IVs and all these things. And at the end of the program, right before you launch, so you get when you come together as a crew, you train for about 2 years and then off you go. At the end of the program, right in my last week in Houston before leaving to Russia, I turned a corner into a classroom one day, and there's my wife in the classroom. I'm like, what is she doing here? Even though she worked at NASA, it was weird to see her in a training room. And then there's these two crazy doctors with all kinds of medical regalia on, and said, you are graduating from Joe and Joe's Intergalactic School of Medicine. So, class of 22, Maine track, I am also a federal, proud medical school graduate. I can give an IV, so line up, I'm happy to do it. And one other thing before I get too deep into the remarks is one of the key things I learned on my very first week as a NASA astronaut. And I assume it'd be similar to you guys as you step off in this part of your journey to the next one as you enter residency. I had been an astronaut for, like I said, just a couple days. I learned where to park, I learned how to log onto my computer, and I went into the supply department where the person kind of they looked at me and said, "Oh, you're 42 regular? Yeah, sure, here." Chucks me a blue flight suit, I put it on, it's like all baggy and got creases in it from still being brand new. And he goes, "Okay, looks good." And off we go. A couple hours later, our new class of astronauts is now talking to a group of students right there at Ellington Field, which is where the NASA Center is. And they introduce us as the class of 2004, brand new astronauts. And after that, there's all these people and kids talking to us, and there's one fifth grader, about fifth grade, who's looking at me just kind of in awe, and oh my God, and he wanted an autograph, and he asked me all these questions. And I'm thinking to myself, kid, you know more about space than I do. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. And I realized right then and there, it was a really fundamental lesson for me that kid didn't know that I was a brand new astronaut. He saw me as an NASA astronaut. Just like when you guys walk into your first medical appointment with where your training wheels are off, you guys are medical doctors. And remember that. It stuck with me for my whole life, and it's been an important lesson, and hopefully it sticks with you guys, and you'll learn it on your own as well. You don't need me to tell you it, but congratulations on being medical doctors. Service and experience. So I had no idea about the Navy when I was in high school here in York, and I remember my brother and I, we would watch the Army-Navy football game, and I liked the way people marched on the field. And then I saw, and some of us here in the staff, you remember the guidance counselor's office, and you thumb through this giant book, and there's photographs of different schools, and I saw pictures of the Naval Academy. I thought, oh, wow, that's amazing, I want to go there. And then it said it's free, I'm like, score. And so off I went to the Navy without really much thought of what it meant. And as I was there, I really started to click. I felt good. I enjoyed my time at Annapolis, and then off into the Navy, and just continued to enjoy it. And it wasn't until the end, after 11 years in the SEAL teams, about 17 and a half years or so at NASA, as I'm winding down this time, trying to figure out what would be a meaningful thing to do after a career in the government, that it's this service piece, this service component that really rung loudly for me. And for me, that was wearing a uniform, and now kind of in my civilian job, I'm helping build a museum that will commemorate heroes that have earned the Medal of Honor. So I feel like that's continuing to serve. But that, to me, learning about the Maine track and learning what you guys are doing and hearing Ben's comments, it really, truly, it sounds that this component is integral into what you guys are doing. Service, serving people, making the community better that you're going to be in, serving individuals and the community. So I think you'll find a great deal of personal satisfaction as you march on in your professional lives, because that really, at the end of the day, when you're tired and groggy, and somebody was saying right before the residency said strategic napping is encouraged between midnight and 8 a.m. or something. So in that fog of sleep, remember that it's the service that you're there for. Another funny story, speaking of sleep, I've kind of been in two worlds with different views of sleep. And in SEAL training, there's this thing called Hell Week, which starts on Sunday and ends on Friday. And I remember like paddling a boat in the middle of the night, probably Wednesday or Thursday night, off the coast of San Diego, and you're racing these little rubber boats against each other, and they're long races, so you're out in the middle of nowhere, and it's very unlikely that you see another boat. Occasionally you do. But in my groggy state of sleep-deprived 3 days or whatever, I looked to my left, and off to my right was the beach, the coastal beach of San Diego. Off to my left is ocean. And I look to my left, and I see, just as clear as it can be, a rubber boat being paddled by a group of ZZ Top guys, big beards, going right past us. And I'm yelling at the boat crew I'm in the back kind of steering, and there's three guys on each side of our boat, and I'm yelling at them, faster, faster, paddle, 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 paddle. And they're all looking at me like, what the heck is he talking about? I was completely delirious. There was no ZZ Top guys there. Absolutely out of my mind with loss of sleep, and somebody's paddle, splashed water back on my face, and I think that, kind of snapped me out of it, kind of embarrassed, saying, oh yeah, guys, sorry, I was joking. Wasn't that funny? But I really, truly thought that ZZ Top was beating us in this boat race. So I hope that you guys, when you see ZZ Top at 3 in the morning and you're about to deal with a patient, that a nurse or your colleague can say, hey, no, there really is a patient right here, snap out of him. But sleep on the International Space Station is completely different. We treat it very, very seriously. In fact, you're up there for 6 months and you're working, probably very similar to residency, where you live at work, you're there all the time, and that has long-term fatigue. And with long-term fatigue and short-term fatigue, your risk of mistake or error, making a misstep goes up. So I've always had a great deal of respect and kind of curious, like why, to the medical world on how you guys do your business. Because as a commander of the International Space Station, if I woke up at 2 in the morning and to go pee and floated by one of my crewmates who was awake, I'd be like, dude, what the hell are you doing awake? Go to bed. And the reason was simple. If something happens tomorrow or the alarm rings right now, we got to have gas in the tank to perform and perform well and throw the right switches and make the right communications calls. So completely different worlds between how, training in the military and operational environment where you got to kind of go, which is similar to what you guys are going to do, versus on the space station where 8 hours is in the plan and we stick to it every single day. So good luck as you navigate that path. It's not an easy one, but do keep in mind that know when you're tired, have the self-assessment to know that, okay, I'm a little vulnerable right now. In fact, on the space shuttle, when we put our fingers on a switch, we look over to our crewmate and say, I have the right fuel cell. Do you agree? Yep, that's the correct one. Every now and then, your finger's on the left one. And no, that's the left one. Move over. Okay, got it. And you throw the switch. So when you know you're at that state and you feel vulnerable, find somebody to make sure your finger's on the right fuel cell. Experiences. I feel very lucky to have a life so far that's been super rich with experiences. And I think just from watching you guys and just the hour that I've been in your life, I can tell that because you're a close-knit group, you have bonded and you guys have probably shared some really unique and some challenging from school and also some very rewarding life things, friends getting married, whatever. And you share those together, and those are going to be part of your experience from now on. And probably there's certain challenges with the COVID environment that have marked your 4 years there for sure. So experiences are something that makes our lives very, very meaningful and rich. If on the International Space Station I'm looking out the window and I see something, or I saw something very unique that I hadn't seen before, what's the first thing any of us would do? Run to go get somebody else to come observe it with you and share that special moment with somebody that is your friend, is your loved one, is your colleague. And those can be large events like a view out the window, graduation, or simple small, like a baby smiling, your kids here watching you graduate, or just the smell of the New England seacoast. So those kind of life experiences are ones that we all carry forward. And we were just laughing about high school sports not too long ago. It seems like, to me, a blink of an eye that we probably were on the same basketball court here in southern Maine. And you think at that moment that you'll be shooting free throws in your high school gym forever and ever, but it doesn't work that way. And what brings you back, though, are those special memories that you share with folks that we call experiences. So I'm very, very glad that I can be part of this experience with you guys. In 20 years, you'll never remember who the heck the astronaut was that was at your graduation. But I'm glad it was me, and I'm glad it was a Maine astronaut. There are two of us, myself and Jessica Meir. She and I happened to be on the space station together at the beginning of my mission in early 2020, and she'll be soon going up. In fact, she's probably lining up her timing is lining up very nicely to be on one of these early missions to the moon or around the moon. So it's very exciting for the Maine astronauts, all two of us. And finally, and this a little bit ties into the sleep thing, is a saying that we have at NASA that I think is applicable to you guys as you march off into residency and your future medical lives. We used to say in our shuttle crew, there's nothing more important than what you're doing right now. And we took that to mean literally like, oh, you got to pick your kids up at school after this simulation, you got to run to do this, your car needs realignment or the inspection's past due or whatever. None of that matters in the simulator or in the real mission. You have to be able to compartmentalize that and focus on what you're doing at this very moment. And it has application in our professional lives, but our personal lives too, as you're talking and engaging with people. Be engaged, listen to the story that the patient is telling you, because that's the most important thing you're doing right at that moment. So I'm not here to pontificate or give you all these huge life lessons, but those are some of the things I've learned. And even though our lives are somewhat different, mine in the military, you guys in medical school, Joe and Joe's Intergalactic School of Medicine feels like I've bonded with you guys, and I will forever. So congratulations, class of 22. I'm very, very proud of you, and thank you for having me be here.
So thank you, Captain Cassidy. And as the Joe of this medical school, congratulations. Thank you for those thoughtful words. We are here to celebrate the Maine Track class of 2022. And so we're going to do a little dance up here, and then you're going to get to meet each of the students. But before I ask the dignitaries, our leaders, to get up here, I just want to take a brief moment of personal privilege to just say, I am so proud of each and every one of you. And I told you last night, and I will say it again, it would be my honor to be cared for any of you. You are going to do amazing things, and I am really excited about where you're going to go. But for now, we're going to introduce the class. Usually every year, this is my 10th class of being able to introduce the class. Usually every year, I practice their names and I say their names very diligently, carefully, and then we clap for them. But this year, as we did last year, the students are going to introduce themselves. So we're going to start by Dr. Chodron and Dr. Sawyer and Dean Kulik coming up, and then we'll get started. Okay, so these are the members of the Maine Track class of 2022.
Jeff Alberg, Cumberland, Maine, General Surgery at Tufts Medical Center.
Savannah Barron, Weston, Massachusetts, plastic surgery at UMass Medical Center.
Hallie Bates, Williston, Vermont, Yale for emergency medicine. Connor Bell, Gorham, Maine, Pediatrics, Baylor College of Medicine.
Mathieu Boudad, New York City, Med Peds at Maine Medical Center.
Andrew Brown from Culver City, going into family medicine at Sutter Santa Rosa.
Richie Burns, Portland, Maine, Interventional Radiology at Maine Medical Center.
Molly Karen, Holden, Maine, General Surgery at Maine Medical Center.
Ketch Cowan from Tennants Harbor, Maine, going into urology at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga.
Susanna Daggett, Yarmouth, Maine, Family Medicine at Maine Medical Center.
Connor Dahlberg, French at Maine. I matched internal medicine at Ochsner Foundation.
Ben Davison.
New Gloucester, Maine Dartmouth, Family Medicine.
Wendy Doan, Portland, Maine, Anesthesiology at Maine Medical Center.
Beth Garbatelli, Brookfield, Vermont, Internal Medicine at Maine Medical Center.
Ashley Gabula, Eddington, Maine, Orthopedic Surgery at the University of Miami.
Sarah Hemphill, Falmouth, Maine, Family Medicine at Swedish First Hill.
Devin Huntley, Coopers Mills, Maine, Internal Medicine at Maine Medical Center.
Chaya Karunasity, Caribou, Maine, OBGYN at Louisiana State University in New Orleans.
Hannah Cruz Young, Mequon, Wisconsin, Emergency Medicine at Advocate Christ in Chicago.
Natalie Kuhn, Falmouth, Maine, Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery at Leahy Clinic.
Peter Kairos, Falmouth, Maine, General Surgery at Maine Medical Center.
Andrew LaChance, Manchester, Maine, Orthopedic Surgery at the Guthrie Clinic.
Tyler Lang, Manchester, Maine, going into anesthesiology at the University of Rochester.
Carolyn Larkins, Manchester, New Hampshire, Obstetrics and Gynecology at the University of Rochester.
Danielle Levine, Byram, New Jersey, Pediatrics at Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center.
Amy McLaughlin, Topsfield, Massachusetts, Emergency Medicine, Zucker Hofstra Northwell.
Harrison McCumber, I'm from Benicia, California, going into emergency medicine at the University of Utah.
Nathaniel Flashner-Meyer from Reedfield, Maine, family medicine at Maine Medical Center.
Abdulmajid Mohammed, Biddeford, Maine, general surgery at Boston Medical Center.
Aaron Kruger, York, Maine, emergency medicine at UMass.
Aya Raif, Portland, Maine, dermatology at Emory University.
Maddie La Rochelle, Rochester, New York, emergency medicine at Maine Medical Center.
I'm James Ryan from Rockwell Center, New York. I majored urology at University of Vermont.
Angela Rick, Fairport, New York, physical medicine and rehabilitation at University of Virginia.
Sophie Salas, Camden, Maine, obstetrics and gynecology at Mountain Area Health Education Center in Asheville, North Carolina.
Alex Shin from Plattsburgh, New York, going to Hennepin County for emergency medicine.
Stephen Suey, Whitefield, Maine, anesthesiology at Leahy Clinic.
Annika Treball, Blue Hill, Maine, obstetrics and gynecology at Maine Medical Center.
Dana Tripp, Saco, Maine, anesthesiology at Maine Medical Center.
Colin Waters from Rome, New York, emergency medicine at the University of Vermont in Burlington, Vermont.
Cody Whitcomb, Pittston, Maine, internal medicine at Loyola Chicago.
Christopher Whiting, Falmouth, Maine, emergency medicine at the University of Vermont.
Caroline White from Houston, Texas, and I matched to emergency medicine at University of California, Davis in Sacramento.
Michael Workman from Guilford, New Hampshire, going into ophthalmology at Geisinger Medical Center.
David Yarnell, Narberth, Pennsylvania, family medicine, Drexel University.
Prathushi Aramili, Falmouth, Maine, general surgery at St. Joe's, Ann Arbor.
So one more time, congratulations, Maine Track, class of 2022. So you've heard many speakers. We've had great speakers, including the class speaker, Ben Davison. And so without further ado, I'm going to say thank you and have a wonderful day. I will ask that the students come up on the stage. We're going to have some pictures. And those of you who would like to stay and take pictures, you're welcome to. Or you can, the students will be out shortly to meet you in the lobby. So thank you for coming. It's a wonderful day, and we'll continue the celebration until your formal graduation commencement ceremony on May 22nd, 2022. So thank you.